Hello there and welcome to a wee chat. Yes, this is your one stop, your only stop, the only place that you should be on a Friday night on Twitch. What is a wee chat? Well, we have guests, we have a tarot cat, and we have a magical reindeer. That's what we're all about here. My name is Wee Claire, lovely to see you. And as I said before, we are going to be making our live debut in the US of A. Oh, I'm so excited about that. In Richmond, Virginia, Galaxy Con, very exciting, where I will be interviewing Jonathan Frakes, Star Trek The Next Generation, anyone? I'm very excited about that. I'll also be interviewing Mark Paul Hosselar, Saved by the Bell. And who else? Oh yes, Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, Daredevil. I've interviewed Charlie Cox before, very excited. So if you're in Richmond, Virginia, do stop by. So exciting, so exciting. Okay, before we get to the lovely guests and everything else, here's what's coming up. It's the season finale and it's been quite a ride. We have a fantastic show lined up for you this evening. Our first guest is the wonderful BAFTA Games Award-winning actress Jane Perry. She plays the iconic Diane Burnwood in the Hitman series, Celine in Returnal, and lots more. Our 400-year-old reindeer pal Rudy is back with another question in Say What? Patricia Summersett stops by to chat about being Princess Zelda in Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And our houseboat band MamajoeVramajoe are here with another purple melody to end the season. Oh, what a great show! This is the final episode of this season. And then I go away to America for a month and then I don't know when we'll be able to do this again. So maybe some point late April. So I'm excited, you guys. So before we get to the lovely Jane Perry, here's Tarot Cat with your weekend reading.
My beautiful souls, this Tarot Cat here with your weekend reading. Remember, this is a general reading, so if it don't resonate with you, get out of here! Today's question is, should I take up a new hobby? Whoa, this is some heavy ass shit, bro. We got the devil. So you want to spend your time doing something new? You answer some ad on Craigslist? Then before you know it, you're tied up in someone's basement like a goddamn fool, loining naked, crochet in front of some thwice bucket. Thwice bucket. Nah, bro, you wanted a new hobby and this ain't what you signed up for, son. This shit is whack, bro. Let's pull a clarification card. I knew it. The Seven of Swords. Look at this guy. He's taking your shit and he is laughing at you, son. That shit is your time and your cash, bro. I'm that ass, bro. You're gonna be taking up a new hobby, but just don't be looking on Craigslist, son. There ain't nothing but sneaky ass freaks on there, boy. Don't say I didn't warn you. So, that's what I got for you. Remember to follow, subscribe, and like and all that shit. Spirit says, yo, we out.
Can we please have all the Tarot Cat emotes in the chat? I want to see the Tarot Cat emotes behind me. Thank you very much, Tarot Cat. Tarot Cat will not be in Richmond, Virginia, sadly. I don't think Virginia is ready for Tarot Cat quite yet. But our next guest, our first guest of the evening, and one of the final guests of this season is the wonderful Jane Perry, who I met last year at this sort of BAFTA drinks mixer that happens once a month. And she's absolutely wonderful. So if you don't know who she is, check out this clip.
Time is like a tide and shapes us, uncovers our secrets, hidden deep below the surface. We alone must find meaning amidst the flow, creating our own fate, finding our own answers.
How did you know? I am sorry. This is a necessary evil. If the brand neurotoxin transfers by touch, it had to be me. My family. I know what you did.
Hola, caballero.
Such a pleasure to meet you. Would you like a drink? I love the new video for La Plebe Ada Antorada, by the way. And the DJ El Paso remix is pretty fucking awesome. Abusamos de la Medicina is probably my favorite, but your song Buchones Heridos, the one where the narco gets gunned down in the street, that's the one we'll play at your funeral.
Yes, I know, right? Espérate, what did you say?
Now, pull over, kill the engine, and have a nice long look at the stars. Simply that. You won't regret it. Gotta go. I love you.
This is a commercial vessel Torrens out of St. Clair, registration number MSV7760, calling Sevastopol Traffic Control. We're carrying 3 passengers on a Wayland.
Tawny Bond, you're holding the Nostromo flight recorder unit. We request immediate permission to transfer the passengers port side over. You made it. For a while there, I didn't think you would, but those guards. Standards have fallen. I may need to behead someone, set an example. I always dreamed we'd meet someday, and here you are, in my lab. Goddess, and look at the state of me. I'm such a mess. I do apologize, but you caught me at a disadvantageous moment. I was just about to start cutting.
Here she is, the one and only, is Jane Perry. Hi, Jane. How are you doing?
I'm really well, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm very good. I was watching the chat there and people were going, oh my God. And they were like, oh, of course, the voice, because you've been in so many iconic games. It's really, I mean, everyone's quite excited. Now, Jane, I mentioned that I did meet you at the BAFTA drinks, but the first time I actually clapped eyes on you was at the BAFTA Awards, which was last year. Now, you won an award. Remind the people which award you won.
I won BAFTA for best performance in a lead role in a game for Returnal.
Oh, so exciting. And tell me, what is that process like? I've always wondered, Jane, like, do they tell you before? Do they just, like, surprise you? What happens?
No, you have no idea. I mean, you know that you might stand a chance because you're one of a small number of people who've been nominated, but yeah, you really don't find out until the night if it's going to go your way or not. And it's kind of a weird experience because you go to this sort of wonderful event and it's a celebration of your own work, but that of others as well, and you're in a kind of celebratory mode, but it's also quite stressful because you're sort of thinking, what's going to happen tonight? I don't really know what to expect. And so you sort of sit there trying to make peace with this anticipation of great sort of victory or not failure, but maybe it not going your way. And it's a lot of kind of things to hold on to during the course of the evening. But that night it did go my way, and I was just absolutely honored and thrilled by the whole experience. I just felt really grateful for all of that.
What was it like walking up there? It must have been surreal because you're classically trained. You've been in this industry for a heck of a long time. You work very hard. You're in so many great games. What does that feel to sort of hold that in your hand as a symbol of that hard work?
Oh, it feels really lovely, to be acknowledged and recognized, because we don't always get that in our industry. I really remember, walking up on the stage. Of course, my biggest fear was that I was going to trip and fall.
Of course.
And, catch my heel in this dress. Like, I don't wear dresses that often. So, that in itself is like, oh my God, like, this is like so, exciting and stressful. And I have to wear a long dress and walk in high heels on top of all of that, which is, a big ask. But it feels great. I remember just feeling, I don't know how to describe it. It's just really nice to be recognized. We don't always get that in our lives. And I think we need it. We need that sort of fuel to sort of keep going. We need somebody to say, good job, well done, you. And that was one of those moments where I got that feedback. And I felt honored by it, really honored.
Now, as I mentioned before, you're classically trained, and you've been living in London for quite a while, quite a long time. But you're originally from, is it British Columbia, Vancouver?
Yeah, well, I grew up in Calgary, Alberta, which is like the second province in from British Columbia. And then I went to drama school in British Columbia in Vancouver. Yeah.
God, I love Vancouver. It's a wonderful. It's like if I don't make it in LA, then I'll just end up moving to Vancouver. It's just up the road. It's just up the road. It's fine.
It is.
It's
Yeah.
not that far. Tell me, like, from going back to the beginning when you started out in this industry, you're doing films, you're doing all sorts of shows. You're cutting your teeth as an actor. Then to go into the games industry, what was that at the time? A transition you thought that would change your life? Did it feel like it was a brave new world at the time, or did you just go, "Oh, it's another job"?
Well, I think I just approached it as a working actor who is just trying to make ends meet and accepts every opportunity that comes their way and embraces it, and that's what I did. So I started out, one of my first games was a 007 game called Legends 007, and I played Holly Goodhead. And
Great
in
name.
Yeah, great name. And of course, you just do these things and you just do it, and you don't really know where it's all going to end up. But I think one of the nice things about working is that it begets other work, and so I did well with that game, and then other games started to arrive, and I would just say yes. I just said yes to everything, and I guess that's kind of how it all kicked off. So it was that, I suppose, that openness to whatever comes your way. And I think that, at that time, games, and I'm talking about sort of 10, 12 years ago, games were not really on the radar of a lot of actors the way they are now. I think a lot of actors really do want to be in games because they recognize the creative scope that's available to them in terms of performers. There's so much that they can sink their teeth into. But at that time, I don't know if they really had that sort of cachet. I think that took a little while for people to go, oh, yeah, I could do that.
It does feel like the more sophisticated games have become, and the more sophisticated storytelling has become, obviously everything's sort of evolved. But as a storyteller, it must be, because I guess, if the way that you look is the way that you look, you can't change your face. You can't change, you can maybe change your voice, but you can't change your face. You can't change the essence of who you are. So it's slightly more difficult to be, I guess, chameleon like if you're on the screen. Are there any roles that you've had where you thought, wow, I would never get this role if this was a film or TV show?
Probably all the roles I play in games, I feel that way about them, because I'm 53, I'm a middle-aged woman, and there are not as many roles for us on, in film and TV. There are more now. I think that's starting to change, but even so, it's, the opportunities to be on screen as a middle-aged woman are less. They are. If you're a middle-aged man, then you right now you still have, more opportunities than women do. And I do like that about games. So it allows me to be a creative artist that is unlimited by physical appearance. And that is a great thing. I think even if I was working loads and loads on film and TV, I would still enjoy the ability to disconnect from my physical appearance, and for my performances and the roles I play to have very little to do with, what my image is. Because I think that it can be a bit of a burden, always having to be mindful of what you actually look like. And this is true for men and women in our industry, in the industry of film and TV, and I suppose theater too. And constantly having to caretake that, I think for some people can be difficult. So when you step into a game environment and you're not completely responsible for your own physical appearance, that is quite freeing and quite fun. And I do enjoy that aspect of it.
I read a article recently, and it was like they're making a real point of it. It was a lovely, well-written article, but it was about the woman 60 plus still killing it in Hollywood. And I thought the fact that we have to write an article about it and point it out, and so there were some great actresses on there, really incredible, iconic women. But I was thinking, to me, they seem ageless. I just thought they're just really amazing actors, and it's that I think age just generally it's one of those things. It's such a stigma. I wanted to ask you, as a storyteller, is there something that you've learned about yourself as an actor over the years, being able to play all these different roles that you might not have learned if you were just doing theatre, television, that kind of thing?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think so. Like I was thinking today, I was teaching at a drama school in London today, and I was really thinking about the students and what they were doing. They were doing some incredible things. And I was thinking about this connection that we have to commitment, like committing to ideas, to really committing fully to what we do, and how when we do that, we discover these interesting things about ourselves that might not have been present to us before that. And I think maybe I have had that experience working in games where you really just, you go the distance with the character, and you do discover things about yourself because you're fully engaged in the given circumstances that person is involved in. And you can find these sort of hidden strengths or even vulnerabilities that you maybe don't really have access to because you don't live these circumstances in your day-to-day life. But as an actor, I think when you really commit to what you're doing, you start to open these little doors inside yourself, and you think, oh, right, oh, that lives inside me. That is a part of me. So I would have to say that's a rather long-winded answer to your question, but the answer is yes. You do find these different aspects of self. And what's so interesting for me is to see them emerge in others as well, like people that or as I was saying, these students that I work with, they came up with some extraordinary characters and voices that I really did not see coming. And I absolutely love that. That's so magical in a way to find these parts of ourselves that are there, but are just under wraps.
That's it. I did an acting course recently. I'd always wanted to do one, and there was 1 week we had it's a voice, someone who's just does voice, and it's weird what comes out of your brain when you read certain things. It's very interesting to look at someone and have lunch with them, and then all of a sudden, oh, this weird voice was coming out, and I was like, oh wow, that's my weird voice. But like all of these weird, strange parts of your personality, and that's the thing about creativity. You're talking about unlocking doors. Yeah, and completely. The human experience is just a series of doors that we unlock, I think, over and over and over again, which is the amazing thing about games, because I guess, Jane, you could work for another 20, 30 years if you really wanted to, and that's the amazing thing about games. You're still learning and learning about yourself and going through it. But I think as well, do you have many people coming up to you or connecting with your character in a different way than perhaps your other work from before, like because they spend time with those characters?
Yeah, Claire, I think you're absolutely spot on about the fact that people spend so much time with them. And I think that has quite a profound impact on the relationship that people end up making with characters in a game. Like, for example, during COVID, during lockdown, I think a lot of people turned to games as a way of coping and of kind of getting through that rather challenging time. And for me, I did get feedback from a lot of people who, for example, would play Hitman. And then when they started to play Returnal, there was this kind of feedback of like, wow, your character really helped me get through this incredibly difficult time in my life. And I kind of got this sense of like a depth of meaning, for them. It resonated on a much deeper level. So it's because perhaps they were turning to games during a time that was really difficult, but also I do think it maybe also had to do with the fact that they had a lot of time to play games and were really enriching that relationship with the characters that we all, you know, voice in games. And yeah. So
Well, let me ask you this as a performer and a storyteller, I guess, you know, because you live with those characters in a different way, you know, from maybe someone else. You know, you're bringing yourself to them. You know, are there any characters that you've played that have really resonated with you? I know that's like maybe asking to choose your favorite child, but is there anyone where you thought, God, this script, this story, that character, that's the one that got me? Does anything come to mind?
yeah, that's a really interesting question. Well, do you know, I think I have a sort of special fondness for Diana in Hitman.
Yeah.
This could be because I've spent a lot of time with her, you know, because I played her for a number of years now. So she's been in my life a long time. And I really have kind of fallen in love with her over the years. There are many things about her that I admire so much. She's so intelligent. She's so sharp. She's got this great sense of humor. And she's really on top of things. And she has this interesting sort of moral fiber, I guess. You know, I think she's kind of out to save the world, but she doesn't really stop at ordering, you know, hits on people, which, you know, maybe is not very moral. But I think that's so interesting about her. She's just like very focused on what she wants to do and why she wants to do it. And her relationship with Agent 47 is also fascinating to me. So Diane is quite close to my heart, but of course, you know, I suppose they all occupy a special space inside, because I mean, Diana, as I said, played her for years, but you know, you do end up spending hours with other characters like, you know, Rogue in Cyberpunk, or Karen Bowman in Wildlands, or of course Celine in Returnal. They're all very, very different women, but I think that's interesting when you play a character. You know, what's a funny thing is I sort of never stop playing the characters that I play. I always, maybe a little something happens and it reminds me of them, and I start to tune into their resonance again, and it's still kind of there, and I still think about their lines and what they go through and what they've done, and I'm still sort of working on it in a funny kind of way, even though it's already recorded, it's in the can, it's done. But I guess they just stay inside.
That's an interesting, yeah, because it makes sense that you would say that, because you are, you know, especially, you know, with the Hitman series going on for so long, you know, you're really, do you think there is a kind of like, I guess, a symbiosis in a sense as an actor when you're playing a part like that? Do you feel that it's almost like all of these personalities truly living on and breathing through you? Does it change your actual personality then, do you think, as you live on as the real human?
I think I think it can do. I mean, what I was saying before, you know, sort of like how it can open certain doors to yourself. You can learn something about yourself from playing these characters. And definitely, I think it's really important for all actors to really be clear about, you know, where their character ends and where they begin, and vice versa. Because some characters, you don't want to take them along with you for the ride. You just really do want to leave them at the door. And so we do have to be careful about that. But there are some characters that are so joyful, so interesting, so engaging, that I sort of feel like, yeah, it's okay to take a little bit of that character with me and allow her to sort of crop up in my real life from time to time. At the same time, you know, you don't want to wander through life feeling inauthentic or like you're not yourself. But I think it's so interesting. I was so interested in the psychology of acting and our psyches. You know, they're so susceptible to picking up information and kind of integrating it. And I think sometimes our psyches don't really know the difference, you know, between acting and being in real life. And again, I think actors have to be really careful about that, especially in, you know, in games where there's, games are usually, not completely, but usually about very high stakes situations, crises and traumas, and all kinds of things are going on, and you have to rise to the challenge as an actor and really kind of bring life to that. And sometimes the ways in which we do that can cost us. So it's very important, to sort of take some time to separate ourselves from the way it costs us and replenish ourselves, and make sure that we fill up again with positive things or nourishing things to kind of recover from that.
I feel as well when you're speaking for those who are not actors, because acting or working in the entertainment industry is a rare thing. Not everyone does it, but I feel like we all wear masks to a certain extent, no matter what jobs we have. Before I worked in the entertainment industry, I did all these jobs that changed me as a person. So it's just taking on those jobs that kind of, it's like doing a painting. You pick up this color and you pick up that color, and then it becomes your unique picture and view of the world. But yes, it is good to, I think, I can imagine if you're acting, just separate yourself slightly and just realize the next time you guys, I'm drinking with Jane, I'm going to be wondering if she's put a hit out in me. I am now slightly scared.
I won't. I promise you now I won't do that.
Do you want to get you an extra glass of wine, Jane? Like, just, please, just don't. I want to end on a positive note, Jane, because it's been wonderful. I like psychology and I like the human mind. I could probably talk about this for a lot longer, but I wanted to end on a positive note. For those out there who want to do what you do and they're not really sure how to do it, what would you say to them?
Well, I think if you wanted to be an actor in games, then the first thing you need to do is learn about acting. That is one of the most important things. And games, have a sort of requirement to be really present and in the moment, just because of, usually it has to do with non-disclosure agreements. So we, as some of your listeners might know, voice actors will get their script, the night before. So you don't have a lot of time to prepare. So whatever you can do to allow yourself to be just ready to go and in the moment is a great thing. So doing things like improv class, or just, learning acting skills. What does it mean to bring bring a character to life? How do we do that? And I think acting is so much more difficult and complex than it might appear on the surface. So it's about respecting the medium and the craft and really diving in to learn how we do that. So that would be the first thing I recommend. And the second thing is really, again, it comes down to this idea of commitment. Like, if there's something that you want to do, commit yourself to it, really step in that direction, do all the things that you've been asked to do or hinted to do, and just do it and enjoy it and see what comes. And I really think that that great things can come when we really, really apply ourselves to stuff.
I love that, and I ascribe to that as well. Jane, you have been absolutely wonderful. I don't think I'll see you at the next Drinks I'm in America, but I might see you at the one after. So, but let's keep in touch for sure. Guys, everybody, please give it on up for the lovely Jane Perry. She's incredible. Thank you, Jane. Thank you very, very much. We'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
That's Jane Perry, everybody. Jane is incredible. Guys, we are moving on to the next thing now. Let's do Rudy. Right? That's what. Sorry, I was like, what am I doing now? I don't really know what I'm doing now. I think I'm doing Rudy. Let's hold on. We got some. I got like there's a lot of Zoom things happening here. We're doing a lot of Zoom stuff here. Hold on, right? Hold up. We're doing a lot of Zoom stuff. This is not all on Discord tonight, believe it or not. Okay, so we have got Rudy coming up. Very excited to see Rudy, because last week I wasn't sure. I mean, he said goodbye last week, and it was a wee bit weird. I don't know, like he sort of said goodbye quite suddenly, so we don't know if he's gonna we don't know if he's gonna quite turn up. But let's see. Hold on. Oh my god, what is happening? Lots of technical things are happening in the background that I'm like, I can't control. Okay, guys, give it on up. It's Rudy. I think he's here.
Say what?
Hell yeah! I'm so excited. So excited for Rudy. Oh.
Hello, Claire.
Oh, okay.
Ho, ho, ho.
Ho, ho, ho. Hi. Okay, Santa, it is lovely to see you. But where's Rudy? He's
perfectly fine, Claire. Don't worry. We just had to stage a little intervention.
Okay, does this have something to do with Roy and those, like, I don't know, there was like some weird mole rat guys he was hanging about with?
Yeah, you guessed it, Claire. It does indeed. Those pesky mole rats have been trying to take down our operations here at the North Pole for years. We've never been able to track them down until recently.
Oh, okay. But what do they have against what you do at the North Pole? I don't get it.
It's quite simple. Everyone knows mole rats hate Christmas. They hate love and they hate joy, Claire. They want to spread the word of Aramanius, the mole rat god, and have us all living underground so they can live up here on the surface. It's kind of weird.
Right, okay. Surely, though, Santa, there's another way that you could end this conflict, because, I don't know, I just feel like maybe we could live in peace and harmony. Like, have you tried, like, talking to Roy?
Talking? Oh, no, Claire. We here at the North Pole don't talk. We have other methods to spread joy and glee for all to see. Speaking of joy and glee, I thought you'd be pleased to know that we did manage to get Rudy back.
Oh, good. All right. Okay, good. Well, how did you manage that then, Santa?
Remember Daniel?
Oh, yeah. Oh, Daniel. Okay, Daniel. Was that like Rudy's horny, like, elf bro?
His horny what now?
Never mind. Go on. What were we saying about Daniel?
Well, Daniel managed to gain access to the mole rats' operations, taking them down from the inside and rescuing Rudy in the process.
Oh, okay, that's amazing news. How did he manage that?
Well, Daniel dressed as one of their own, of course, as a mole rat, and he figured out the password to their mainframe security system. It was Roy Rocks 2023.
Oh.
Easy.
Easy mode. Okay. Well, I'm happy to hear Rudy's okay. But what's next for the mole rats and, like, Roy and stuff?
Well, Roy is in custody and currently being held at the North Pole Penitentiary for questioning. Most of his mole rat goons, left after we took down security, and the rest are being re-educated.
What does re-educated mean?
Let's just say they're going to make very good elves, Claire.
Oh, okay. That doesn't sound weird. Okay, well, all right. Okay, let's get back to Rudy. Where's Rudy?
Oh, he's getting some rest.
What do you mean by rest?
Yes. We had to, help him get acquainted with his old life, shall we say.
Okay. What do you mean?
You're a reindeer, not a mole rat. You are Rudy. Santa is your friend. Roy is a fraud. North Pole is your home. You are Rudy. You are a reindeer, not a mole rat. You are Rudy. Santa is your friend. Roy is a fraud. Roy is a fraud. North Pole is your home. You are Rudy. You are Rudy. Roy is a fraud. You are Rudy. Roy is a fraud. You are Rudy. You are Rudy. Roy is a fraud. You are Rudy.
What the heck was that?
Nothing, Claire. I need to go.
Yeah, but you, why didn't you go? You just got here, Santa.
Yes, Claire. Miss Claus needs me to, clean her chimney. I'm sure you understand it. It gets very dirty up there.
I'm sure it's very dirty. Okay, well, it sounds like urgent work. Okay, Santa, well, thank you very much. I guess we'll see you around.
Bye, Claire.
Bye, Santa, bye. All right, okay, so, well, that was Santa, and I'm pleased to say that Rudy is fine. Rudy really seemed fine in that video, guys. What do you think? Rudy seemed absolutely fine. Can we have Rudy emotes in the chat, please? Hopefully we'll be seeing Rudy again very, very soon. We have got our last guest of the season, and I'm very pleased to welcome her. We're going to show a clip before she comes on. Now, she's great. First met her, it was back in August at Insomnia Gaming Festival on a WeChat, the live show. And now she's kind of done it the other way around. Now she's on a WeChat, the actual version. So she started on the live show. So let's watch this clip. This is Patricia Summersett.
All that we can hope is that the species will be strong enough to prosper on its own. Is that what I think it is? Look at this. I don't believe it, but I actually caught one. This delicacy is known to have very, very potent effects under the proper circumstances. Ta-da!
When I was little, my Savta taught me that silence was a woman's best garment. But I have to admit, I never really took her advice to heart.
Orb, I didn't want to do this.
I trained you to do this. I expected nothing less. Eddie, you had so much potential.
Yes, Chloe, what is it?
According to the trigonometric calculation that takes into account the speed of the setting sun, I've calculated we have exactly 52 minutes left before it gets dark. Gabriel, look, we're running out of track. There's no bridge.
How to tie hundreds of different knots.
Yes, I want to tie knots. I want to tie knots. I want to tie knots. I don't have to go to the bathroom anymore because I just peed my pants.
What do we do?
Killing really is the least productive way to achieve our goals. Kill them all. Galena, we need an exit, now!
Understood.
Heck yeah. She's one of my favorite people. She's so great. It's the wonderful. It's Patricia Summersett. Hey, Patricia.
Hey Claire.
Yay. Look at you in your professional sound booth. Check you out. I'm loving it. Patricia, how does it feel to be on a WeChat, the actual show? Because we met live. What did you think of the live show last year? Because we had Rudy, we had all this stuff going on.
Oh yeah, well, it was super cute, and also it was fun to just be in Birmingham, like in general, for a gaming convention and meet you there. I really enjoyed the chat. I also enjoyed hanging out at the arcade and stuff after.
Oh yes, we stayed out rather late.
We did.
We went out with Neil Newbon afterwards, and me and Neil are very bad influences because I think we can stay. We stayed on for another hour and a half after you left. I know.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And I still had to get up the next day and get a train. What do you make of gaming conventions? You know, Insomnia is great. I hope you've got some planned this year. But what do you make of the gaming conventions? Like, what does that give you as a performer? Because I guess it's like a live embodiment of, your work. People actually meeting you.
Well, it is actually interesting being at gaming conventions versus other kinds of conventions that are sort of more general, like a fan expo where you have like TV mixed with like film stars mixed with YouTubers and gamers. Gaming conventions are, I don't know. I mean, they're really special because like I'm there because of the gaming stuff specifically and not as much the other stuff. I think what like was crazy and thrilling about Insomnia was going into this very large sort of warehouse room and seeing thousands of consoles in one room where everybody had like flown and driven their consoles to one place to all be gaming in the same room. I have never seen that before. It was wild.
It's weird, isn't it? Strange.
Yeah, it's totally weird. But also this really interesting understanding that people are doing it to connect, because otherwise they wouldn't want to be in the same space, all sort of attached to the same equipment. Yeah, it was kind of nice actually. There was like a hopefulness in it to be.
Now you've done all sorts of voices, but wait, let's get the old Princess Zelda chat out of the way. People love that character and they really love that game, and those games in general just really sit with people's hearts in a special sort of way. Like, why do you think that people connect so hard to those games, and then your character in particular?
I mean, for one, and I've thought about this a lot over the years, and part of it is just a mystery to me how I'm involved in all this altogether in the first place. But there's so much about what Nintendo does with that story that's like really classic storytelling. They go deep into old archetypes and old myths, and they bring them out in these characters. And we can't help, I think, but to respond to some of it, just naturally, because it's the way we're built, I guess you could say. I don't know. I feel like Princess Zelda, and especially the iteration that I got to do, is so incredibly relatable. She understands that she's got a lot of pressure on her. She's just trying so hard to do it well. She's got a bit of darkness in it too. There's kind of a jealousy and a complexity to her character that's kind of really refreshing. And yet this like sort of, and this need to sort of dig into both education and faith and hope and things beyond what you can understand to sort of marry them up and find something meaningful and find her power. I think we're all, on some level trying to dig at that. So on that, and also like fashion, she's got great outfits. I don't know, she just rocks.
As a performer, when you're working on, say, a TV or film set, you're in the mode, you're in that environment. As when you're doing when you're doing performance capture, or when you're in a sound booth, obviously you have to go into your own inner world. What are the sort of tricks and tips and the things that you do as a performer to really immerse yourself in that world when you're maybe in a sound booth, or you're not in a beautiful lush forest, for example?
Yeah, I mean, I think so much of that does happen through training in advance. And the other part of that, like just a lot of imagining being in places and trying to physicalize it. So I went to school for it, and that to me was really helpful. And usually when people ask like, what's your tips for voice acting? I'm like, it's acting, get training. Like you can't do this without like training it. It doesn't need to be in school, but just in one way or another, getting some training for that is so important. I think another thing that's like really important about that is the fact that the preparation can lead to the clues that make it easier to like get rid of the other stuff that you don't need to focus on at the time, and just like focus on what your character needs and wants. We hear this kind of as almost like a trope, but that's because it's so true. And when you're actually doing it, when you've actually prepped, when you can, it becomes really clear, and it becomes more fun and more playful because you can kind of see the form that you need to be in. And so that can take the form of like motion capture or being on TV sets and stuff. And so much of the time, like there are so many things that can distract you on these sets. Like in the motion capture room, like you're acting with a helmet on, and you've got like a bright light or a camera or something like pressing really hard on your head, or you might need to go to the bathroom by the time the day is done. And you have to just keep on coming back and like focusing in and delivering that performance. So yeah, prep helps a lot. Focusing on key elements of like what your character needs in that moment. It really sort of always comes back to that. Otherwise, if you're not focusing on what your character wants, you're focusing on what your character should look like they're wanting, and you're commenting on it at the same time. And you want to avoid that at all costs as much as possible. So
I think, have you had any, like, I mean, I get that, I get these moments all the time because I'm such a nerd, you know. I get pinch me moments all the time, you know, because I think you were really, as hard as this industry can be, because you're always thinking about the next job and will I get this next job, and there's a lot of rejection around what we do as well, you know. But I get a lot of, oh my God, this is my job. When was the last time that you had that where you thought, oh my God, I've got a really weird job and it's really cool?
Oh gosh, that comes up all the time. Actually, at a fan convention, just having some really wonderful interactions. I was in Orlando a couple of weeks ago, and there was a family there. I'd been in Florida earlier in the year. It was at a cosplay convention. No, sorry, last December. And this family had visited me, and they had this little boy dressed as Link, and he was like the cutest little boy dressed as Link, and he was like all full of smiles, and he was really good at taking the pictures, and they were you know, big fans of the entire franchise, so I get to have these conversations with people, which is super cool. And then they came back and visited me in Orlando, and they came back and their little boy was there just like 4 months later with like the same Link costume, but he'd grown a little bit. And he was like just happy to see me, and I felt like I was part of their family, and I was like, what a weird job I have. Like, it's so weird. And you have these moments of intimacy that come from everybody celebrating this game, and it's so freaking cool. So yeah, that. And then also sometimes in the last year recording some stuff, I definitely had some like, oh my God, I have to pinch myself right now, this is happening. And I'm like, you know, just, yeah.
I'm sure you're in NDA land, which means you can't talk about a lot of stuff, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
It's always the case. I always say to people before, what can we not talk about? And the person goes, 3 things, 4 things, 5 things. You're always in NDA land. It's so annoying. But you know, I love seeing it. You know, I'm not an actor, but a lot of my friends are at conventions and they do these things. I was watching one friend. His queue is like absolutely huge. He's not, and he was just like that, and like the joy in people's faces is incredible. Has there been a moment where you've thought it's almost brought you to tears, or it's really touched you? Has there been a moment you can think of?
Oh yeah, definitely. At every convention, actually. And part of that joy that people feel, I mean, it's sort of, I like it, and I feel more comfortable with it as time goes on, because I realize like it's not about me, it's about a celebration of something larger than both of us in that moment.
Yeah.
It's a celebration of like enjoying a symbol or like true like gameplay, and you happen to be a part of it, and they happen to be able to get up and like you can discuss it, and people just get so much joy out of that. So it's so nice. I did have some, I almost wonder if it's even worth, there are times at every convention where people come up to me, and it doesn't need to be a story about you know, mortality or sickness or anything like that at all to be extremely moving, but sometimes you get these stories where people have loved ones lost and gone. Just this last convention, I had both somebody come up to me who was recovering from in the stages of fighting breast cancer.
Wow.
And this game meant a lot to her, and so you suddenly stuff gets real, like really fast in those moments, and you just need to be there listening. And another person came, and their dear friend of last year was like a huge fan of the franchise and was no longer with her, had passed away the year before, and she was trying to keep it together, and we cried together. We cried, and I don't walk away without that deeply sort of affecting me and altering me. And you know, it's and again, it doesn't need to be that serious to have really special moments with people at all. Like, it can just be like, hey, I love this franchise and I grew up with it. And you're like, yay, you know. But yeah, it's all kinds. So yeah, I can remember that was the last time I teared up regarding that particular game.
As sad or as emotional or maybe weighted as those experiences might be, does that give you something as a performer for the next job, where it's almost like you're not just in a booth, there's going to be people that really, really love that? Does that kind of enhance your performance almost? Do you think of that as a storyteller?
Maybe on some level.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want it to I wouldn't want it to be a gauge for what kind of quality of work that I'm doing, because even if a lot of people are not going to see the work that I'm doing, I mean, my background's theater, right? And you can be doing some of the best work you have ever done in your entire life for an audience of like 2 or 3 people that may not even really like a play, right?
Sure.
And that's the kind of training. Actually, it's really robust training, and it's actually really good to do. But you hope to be reaching people, but you cannot rely on that as like a measurement of your own success in what you achieved when you went into that creative process. But it certainly is a pretty great impetus to work hard on stuff that could have a large audience. But man, it's also, you don't want it to like you don't want it to be about the fans. It has to be about the work.
Yes.
And it has to be about the innovation and the realness of the work and what you bring to it. So yeah. And then you just hope. You're like, oh, I hope it lands. But yeah.
Oh, now you can hear it. So this is live. This is live on Twitch, everyone. Now you might hear my cat in the litter tray. Really glamorous here on Twitch. Sorry, Patricia. I could hear him scraping away, and I was like, why now, Mac? Why now? Oh my God, you've waited the whole night. He's doing a protest poop because he wants me
to... A poop? A protest poop?
Yeah, you know, my American friends love me. They love when I say the word poop.
I love you too.
Why? How do you say poop? How do you say poop?
Poop.
Oh, poop. You elongate
You say you poop. Yeah, it's like poop. How do you say pee?
Pee.
Poop and pee.
Pee and poop. Poop and pee.
Pee and poop. Pee and poop. That's great. I don't know. Like, yeah, it sounds so lyrical and like it sounds like music. It sounds way less stinky than when I say it.
Speaking of amazing voices, when we saw that clip earlier, Chloe. I need to talk about Chloe.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, first of all, where
is this natural calculation takes place?
Yeah. She was like, oh my gosh. She was, yeah. That's actually eye capture, lip capture. They put my head in this little clamped thing, and then they capture your eyes and your lips, and then you sort of just like you do everything with your eyes and lips, and then you have the script on either side and have to sort of like read it, but also keep everything else still. It was a really wild process doing Knuckleheads. Yeah.
That's really, actually, was that even more difficult because you're very aware of your eyes, you're very aware of your whole face? Must have been difficult.
Yeah, it was actually quite a challenging technical feat. And it's been a couple of years, but I put that on my demo because it's not, actually it hasn't been from the last 3 or 4 years. It's been previous to that, but I don't have a lot of like high voices. And I was like, that process is so cool. It should be on my demo because so people know that I've done that technical work, because it's it's quite specific, but it was really challenging. It took a while to get used to the musculature that you needed to kind of like manipulate, almost like mime or something. Like you took a mime course to do this and you had to learn really quickly.
Oh, how interesting. But like in terms of the different voices, because we see a range there on that clip earlier, you know, going from like Princess Zelda to someone like Chloe, it's such a range. Are there any? Do you kind of like pick up voices from real life? You go, oh, you know, that person I met in that store, that's a great voice, or that person really affected me, or that girl said poop real weird. Like maybe, like, does that affect your characters? I guess.
All the time. People's entire body language and overall behavior. I'm fascinated by human behavior all the time. I'm constantly watching it and using it and sort of just, I guess, like partially storing it. If I were smarter, some people have voice banks and written notes and like a whole library of things that they call upon. And I've thought about doing that. In fact, I've thought about starting that this year, having like a really sort of organized database of stuff to draw from when you are making characters and stuff like that. Something I've considered. I kind of feel like I should have done that earlier. Maybe a waste of time not to do it, really, because it's so much a part of the work is being able to observe and mimic. And as I get older, my voice changes the way that I might approach a character, and also what my voice is suited for naturally, and then how much effort it takes for me to get into those higher tones or those more pure tones. And so it's constantly shifting. It's a really fascinating process to keep involved with.
I love it. Like, again, like I said to Jane before, you know, I'm not an actor. You know, yeah, I did like one course earlier this year, but I became very, and I'm not like, you know, it's something I probably if I have more time, I'll go and maybe do more and more. I like doing short courses, but I became very addicted to the feeling of being something else, I think. Whereas before, I used to not want to be something else because my job is to be myself. But actually, it was really lovely to step into something and then go and draw from your experience and go, yeah, but yeah, I have felt like that before. How would this person feel like that? A friend of mine who's an actor went, yeah, it's very addictive, isn't it? And I was like, yeah. Do you find it addictive as well? That feeling of being a chameleon, being anything and drawing from past experience.
Yeah, I think so. It's funny, there are certain things that I'm less interested, like that I've done a lot, and I'm less interested in trying to enter into, but feel that I have a way through certain kinds of situations or emotions. But it's always compelling. And yeah, I think the idea of transformation is consistently one of the most obsessive things for me. Yeah, and even just like the moments where you switch from something to the next and it becomes the next thing, when you can actually fully make a transition, or you can even fool yourself, like you can change your voice enough or your shape enough, even subtly, where it really becomes something else. I find it utterly fascinating and totally freeing. Yeah.
100%. I mean, Patricia and I did the podcast, actually, Hot Pod Time Machine. You guys all know I've been talking about it. It's coming, Patricia's episode's coming out next week. And it's about change and transformation. Although we ended up talking about your plants and lots of other stuff.
Yeah, my peace lily, right?
Your peace lily. We ended up talking about that. But I find that interesting. I find the idea of change, transformation, and the psyche of the human brain and personality and even body language extremely interesting, because it does change. And even if people say, I don't change, I've been the same person for the last 20 years. No, you've not. Like, I don't believe that you have. You might sort of, the essence of you might be the same, but there might be small inflections that have changed you. But why do you think, I'm going to pose this question to you, and guy, this is a flavour of next week's podcast. Why do you feel that some people, even though change is inevitable, why do you think some people feel that change is hard or scary?
That's a big question.
I'm ending on a big one, you guys. I'm so sorry, Patricia. Don't hate me.
I mean, change is scary, because I think we as humans are, as much as I know about behavior and biology, we are looking for safety. It's one of our basic human needs, is to keep our shelter, and, you know, like, of all the basic needs, find food, find predictable situations in which we can function properly and operate and not get eaten, or all these, you know, things. So I don't know. I think change can represent to our body going out into nature in an unprotected manner. And there's nothing as scary as that, which is why a lot of people's biggest fear is like public speaking, I guess. And the fear of the unknown, where we just want to control, find, and make familiar everything around us. I mean, I would love to know, like, I listen to a lot of podcasts on that. I wish I could find better words for why I think change is scary exactly. But one thing's for certain, it is, especially if it's worth making.
Yes.
If it's going to be a real thrill and it's going to be exciting, it's also going to be very uncomfortable.
Sometimes it's not bad, you guys. Sometimes it's okay. Like, sometimes it's a good feeling. Sorry to end on a deep note there. My God, Patricia. I feel like when we talked on the podcast, I really put you through it, and now I'm like doing it again.
I love that you just did like a whip motion. You're like, or like a, I don't know, like a saber. What was that? It was like a sort of frisbee.
I frisbeed you. I kind of like conversationally frisbeed you. Patricia, I know that you've got perhaps some cons maybe coming up. I know you might not be able to say what they are, but
I can actually. The next con I have, Game Jam South in Alabama in May.
Okay.
Then I might have something in May later.
Sure.
But actually on my website, I've got a bunch of them listed on patriciasummersett.com throughout the year. So actually there are several for Collecticon that I'm going to be part of too. So if anybody's looking for conventions around the States, anyway, those ones are listed on my website. So.
Excellent. Guys, please go follow Patricia Summersett on Twitter and Instagram, and go check her website if you want to go say hi and you want to go check out the dates. Fingers crossed she'll be back here on these shores as well. But I might see you in the US because I'm doing a bunch of American things.
Oh, I can't wait. I know it's going to happen, and I can't wait for that reunion.
I'm so excited. Yay. Patricia, thank you so much for joining us. You've been wonderful. And I'll catch you soon for sure. I'll WhatsApp you, yeah. I'll message you, yeah.
Lovely. After you take your pip.
My pip. I'll see you later. Bye, Patricia.
Bye.
Take care, guys. That was Patricia Summersett. She's amazing. I love her. How lovely is Patricia? Do you know what? This brings us to the end of season 3 of A Wee Chat. You guys, we have made it. Season 3 of A Wee Chat. We have had some incredible guests this season, and it's all on YouTube. It's !YouTube. The mods will put out the link in the chat. You can also !Tarot Cat if you'd like to check out the latest Tarot Cat video. Will be up right now. So please help me get to 1,000 subs. And please like and comment and subscribe and do all those things on YouTube, because all the WeChat this episode will be up on YouTube. Hopefully, hi YouTube friends, you'll see it by the time this goes up. It'll be on YouTube. I would like to say thank you very much to everyone in here who is stuck by a WeChat, who watches along to all of the weirdness, because it is a weird show. It's a weird show, and I've got big plans and big dreams for a WeChat, and it's because of the Wee Squad and everyone watching along, viewers old and new, that you guys have allowed us to go to GalaxyCon. I'll be there in the weekend, 24th to 26th. We are making our American debut live on stage. I think I'm going to be able to announce the guests for that soon. Let me check my emails, just in case. I don't have the confirmation yet, but I'm telling you, if I get the guests that I think I'm gonna get, I'm gonna be very happy. So that's gonna be GalaxyCon in Richmond, Virginia, the American live stage debut. You guys, can we have Yasis in the chat? What? Rudy's gonna be there too. Rudy's gonna be there. Those guests are gonna be like, what have we signed up for? Also, we're gonna be back at Insomnia. I'd like to say a very special thank you to Insomnia Gaming Festival, Chris Duggan, Tobin, and all of the team at Insomnia, because it's Chris that supported me through the pandemic, watched this stream, watched a WeChat, and then believed enough in this show that you're watching on Twitch to make it a live stage show, and he still believes in it, because we're going to be back April 7th to 10th. And that's Insomnia Gaming Festival in April, back in Birmingham. Thank you very much to Insomnia. You guys really paved the way for all that stuff, so that's really cool, man. Please go follow Insomnia Gaming Festival, even if you can't come to Birmingham in April. You should, please, they're the best team. They're the loveliest team, man. Thank you to Insomnia. What a great bunch of humans. All right, okay, so we are going to end the show with our houseboat band, MamajoeVramajoe. They are incredible humans. You need to go follow them straight away. They're absolutely brilliant, and they have provided a track for every single episode, so give it on up. It's MamajoeVramajoe. We're going to be going to Bump right after this, so don't go anywhere.
Wow. Look at us go.
Hello.
That's how you get there.
We are MamajoeVramajoe, coming from our purple houseboat on our purple planet.
It's true.
To perform a song for you, We Claire, on WeChat.
On the Wii Universal Studios.
Yes. So we have a church. It's called Church of Joe.
It's really great.
And in that Church of Joe, there is the Vrami Bunch.
Type 420 in chat if you're part of the Brownie Bunch.
Yeah. What number is most sacred?
You know it.
24. 24. What number is most sacred? 24. 24. What number is most sacred? 24. 24. Reverse the digits. 42. The meaning of you. Add 0. You're now in the Brownie Bunch. You're now in the Brownie Bunch. You're now in the Brownie Bunch. What number is most sacred? 24. 24. What number is most sacred? 24. 24. Someone say?
Someone said it.
420. You're now in the Brownie Bunch. You're now in the Brownie Bunch. You're now in the Brownie Bunch. 2 plus 4 equals 6. Turn 6 upside down. Those numbers are ducky now. Quack. Quack, quack. You're now in the Brownie Bunch. 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 24. 24. You're now in the Brownie Bunch. Iconic.
What's this guy doing?
You're now in the Brownie Bunch.
420's in chat, y'all.
Brownie Bunch. Thank you, Claire, for having us.
Thank you for having us all the way over.
From our purple planet.
Yo, 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 yo.